Central Minnesota Sports Hub. It's the Morning Sports Desk, presented by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on YouTube.
Powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. This is the Morning Sports Desk. I'm CJ Baumgartner. There's Corey Tackman. We got a lot to talk about in the show today, including Pablo Lopez being out for the season. So that's fun. But at least the Timberwolves got Mike Conley back, and we got a game on the broadcast schedule tonight. All of that. But first, Corey, always a good day when you go to the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena.
Well, here we are. We're less than 10 days away from the end of the month in February, which means you're running out of time to get in on the big ticket giveaway. Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade giving away 50,000 FunZone tickets to one lucky FunZone Rewards member. Here's how you enter. First of all, if you have a FunZone Rewards account with a registered card, you are already automatically entered. If you're not a FunZone Rewards member yet, just scan the QR code on your screen on the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade Wadena Facebook page, or obviously just stop into the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. Scan that QR code. Join by February 28th, by the end of the month, to get your automatic entry. Then don't forget to add your FunZone card to your new account as well. 50,000 FunZone tickets could be yours. Just get entered into the big ticket giveaway with the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena.
Okay, Corey, starting off with the broadcast schedule tonight, more of the same, just some good old-fashioned Section 8 AA girls.
Basketball, give me the ball because I'm gonna dunk it!
The Wadena-Deer Creek Wolverines are going on the road to the host Frazee Hornets. The 18-7 Wadena-Deer Creek Wolverines are 5-6 in Section 8 AA play, 12-2 in the Park Region Conference, where they finished second this season, 7-3 on the road, 1-1 in neutral site games, 10-3 on their home court this season. For the Wolverines, they are 2-2, and in fact 3-3 in their last 6 games, with losses to Barnesville, Monaga, and to Pelican Rapids, but some victories over the Pillager Huskies, the Henning Hornets, and the Holly Nuggets in that span as well. For the Wolverines, Corey, they have a QRF of 88.1, and they're taking on the Frazee Hornets, who, of course, are led by Sonnenberg, the UND commit. They're 20-4 on the campaign, 10-3 this season in 8 AA play, 13-3 in the always competitive Heart of Lakes Conference, 8-3 on the road, 2-0 in neutral site games, and 10-1 on their home floor. A QRF of 122.4 ranks them in the class, Corey, 21st in Class 2A, and in 8 AA as we take a look at the standings. Right now, Par on the top spot with a 133 even QRF. DGF ranked 127.6. Frazee, 122.4. In third, it's Monaga, 114.4. And then there's a bit of a drop-off as you have the Pelican Rapids Vikings at 105.4. Then 102.9 for East Grand Forks. Holly at 95.8. Wadena-Deer Creek, 88.1. Then Roseau, 75.1. Barnesville, 73.6. Park Rapids area, Thief River Falls, Crookston, Warroad, all kind of make out the final spot. So if you're Wadena-Deer Creek, there is still a chance. This is the final game of the season for the Wolverines. If you look at the QRF, they're about 7 points behind of Holly, but a win tonight for the Wolverines could get them, Corey, close enough to margin of error, theoretically, right? Because Wadena-Deer Creek does have the tiebreaker over Holly now after last Saturday's victory for the Wolverines, or they could get a victory and it could potentially bump them up close enough, but otherwise it looks like the Wolverines, they're not going down. They might just be stuck in that spot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the exact schedules look like, and maybe you said it and I wasn't listening, but like it's tonight is probably the end. Maybe
Yep.
maybe one more game tomorrow night, but no, you just the point is now is play good basketball. Rack up as many wins as you possibly can. That is the truth for both of these teams. I'll let you finish what you need to say, but in particular, you mentioned Jaden Sonnenberg, so I've got a note about Jaden and then some other like local basketball people that I came across that I want to make sure we touch on here today also.
Okay, yeah. So just finishing up kind of how things would look in the brackets. So Wadena-Deer Creek would be the 8 if things stayed where they're at. The Wolverines would get a home playoff game, and that would be next Thursday at 7 o'clock in Wadena. And if the standings hold, it would be the Roseau Rams who would be coming to town for that matchup. But Barnesville's within that margin of error. It's either going to be Roseau or Barnesville that would come to Wadena on Thursday in that 8-9 matchup. And then if the Wolverines were to win that, they would play on the Saturday, and that game would likely be against the Perham Yellow Jackets at the Hive. So a lot of moving pieces still, so don't want to jump the gun too quick just yet, but that is where things stand at this point in the standings for the Wolverines. If you look at a team like Monaga, that's likely, even though they're undefeated on the year and will likely finish that way, they are going to be the 4 seed in Section 8AA, and that still does get them home court advantage. It doesn't quite get them a first round bye, but they would take on the 13 seed in all of this, which would be, I believe, Crookston, and then they would get to host again in that high seed against the 5-12. And then basically, again, what Coach Pouliot talked about last week is they just want home court advantage up until neutral site games. He's like, that's all we want out of this. We don't care if we're 1, 2, 3, or 4. We just want to be a team that has to make the other teams go through our gym if they want to get to Concordia. So those are a couple other updates. And of course, Perham on track right now to 20-3 mark to be the 1 seed in the section with a 16th overall ranking in Class 2A. So Corey, that's how things are shaking up for the section standings as we hit crunch time.
We do hit crunch time indeed. And I know I'm springing this on you here a little bit, but I wanted to run through because we were talking about Frazee. This is a good transition into some other things. I don't have any graphics for you, but I know, CJ, this is just kind of right up your alley and stuff that you'd be kind of interested in. First things first, the 42 girls have been named for the upcoming Minnesota Girls Basketball 2026 All-Star Series.
Okay.
It's Saturday, April 11th at Carleton College. And whatever, we've got some area athletes involved in this, and I'm sure you can guess now who one of them is. It is Frazee's own Jaden Sonnenberg, a part of this. But I just wanted to list some of these other area names because, well, you'll recognize them all as pretty spectacular players. Morgan Korf from Pelican Rapids makes the list.
Yep.
Parker Yagi from Breckenridge. Tori Orline from Crosby Ironton. On the list as well. There's Jaden Sonnenberg from Frazee. Kaya Anderson from Perham makes the list as well. And I believe there's one more, or is that it? Was that 5 players? I think that was 5 players.
Yeah,
that was 5 players there. So congratulations to them on the girls' side of the ball. On the boys' side of basketball, the 2026 MBCA, which is the Minnesota Boys Basketball Coaches Association, has announced their semifinalists for the McDonald Award.
Okay.
That's like their player of the year or whatever.
Yeah, that's after Coach McDonald, correct?
That's exactly right. So these are the McDonald Award semifinalists. And let me tell you what, we've got some central Minnesota, northern Minnesota names here as well, like AJ Bessler from Nevis.
Of course.
Jackson Boshi from Bemidji.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Kale Mizigatis from Henning.
Who?
Yeah, I know. Isn't that amazing? We've also got Jack Welch from Pelican Rapids, and we've got Mason Witt from Alexandria.
A lot of good players on that list.
A lot of really good players on that list. And then one name not on that list, but having a special year and a special career is Roseau Rams. Do you remember the Baravich sisters?
Yeah, the name comes to mind.
Okay, there were 3 of them. It was Kylie and Casey and Katie, and they were all a part of their really great run of state championship teams. Well, they've got a brother who is a 3,000-plus point scorer. He eclipsed 3,000 points the other night. His team in the victory scored, and forgive me, I can't remember the exact number. It was either 84 or 86 points.
Okay.
He is averaging like 35 a game. Jack is his name.
Yep.
How many points did he score to get him over the 3,000 point mark. Did you see this?
Well, my guess is, by the way you're framing this, that it's going to be some ridiculous number. I'm going to say that he scored 65 points.
He scored 70 of his team's 86 points.
What the heck? That's insane. Thought Kelmisa got us dropping 51 on Saturday, and a win against Hankinson was good, but no, it's out of the water.
No. 51 is good. That's really good. 70. I know. Pretty awesome. So anyway, those are just some of the local things that I know cropped up. We don't have those shared anywhere. We're gonna have to find those and get those up on the cow. And speaking of which,
I was gonna say not just on Facebook, but
can I transition the Sports Cow now on Instagram with exactly 0 posts, but more coming as the day and the weeks roll along. Sports Cow now on Instagram.
The cow, the gram, name a better combination.
Moo.
See
on IG, baby.
When is our Vine page coming up?
In 2011.
Perfect. Do it for the Vine. That'll be great. The Sports Cow TikTok page coming in 2038. So
yeah.
Just let us do one social media platform at a time. Dang it. It takes a while.
Once it's been banned and comes back in a worse form, that's when we'll get it.
Exactly. Once everybody has left.
All right. Sorry, I kind of steamrolled that for a little bit. I know we got a lot more to talk about.
We do have a lot more to talk about, Corey. One last thing in the high school sports. Why don't we stay in the Heart of Lakes kind of region, as we forgot to mention this earlier in the week, but do want to give a shout out to a gymnast who is state bound. It's Ariana Myers in the all around. Congratulations to her for advancing to the state gymnastics meet. She was the all-around section champion, and the entire Yellow Jackets gymnastics team got a 3rd place finish. That good?
Seems good. Yeah, it seems really good.
Seems really good. So congratulations to her. Congratulations to the Yellow Jackets as well on a great season. All right. So, Corey, we got to talk state sports. And first, let's start off with the bad. Pablo Lopez, we said on Tuesday's show, hey, don't panic until we have to. Let's wait. And in fact, I was coping so hard of like, maybe it's not even that bad. Maybe we're just freaking out over nothing.
Yep.
Corey, within a minute after we stopped recording and uploaded the episode, they said Pablo Lopez was out for the season with Tommy John surgery.
I think it's important to clarify this a little bit. When you say within a minute of us ending our podcast, what you mean by that is literally a minute. I walked out of my room and then I heard you slam something down on the desk in the other room. And I quote, "Dang it."
Story, by the way.
That is absolutely true. A minute after we were like, "See you later," the Pablo news dropped.
Awesome. We having fun yet? We having fun? So it just goes with this general thing. No, we're not. It goes with this general vibe, right? Of, okay, well, the Twins vibes are weird. I don't have high expectations, but at least Pablo Lopez is throwing and Byron Buxton's hitting batting practice. And you can at least have some of that to just give you a little bit of, well, that looks good. That at least is good, though. I at least can watch that for a little bit when I want to. And then Pablo Lopez hurts his arm. And there's some interesting quotes from Pablo about it in the Pioneer Press, where he talks about, like, honestly, he's like, I'm surprised I made it this far. He's like, about over a decade. In 2013, like one of his very first pro seasons in the minors, he had Tommy John. And he's like, once you have it once you need Tommy John surgery once, you're probably going to need it again at some point in your career.
Yeah, so your chances are like 60% or something.
Every new time you tear that ligament in your elbow, the odds of you tearing it again are better because it ripped and they can repair it, but it's a repair job. If you rip your shirt open and you stitch it back up, you're probably going to rip that shirt in the spot you stitched it because it's already, anyway. So that's where it is. And Pablo Lopez said, it's been like 15 years or 12 years since I've had to deal with that. Like, I'm pretty lucky. It's like, but that doesn't make me feel any better. It's basically like his
right.
It's like it was bound. Like, we always just kind of know it's bound to happen at some point. And I've heard some people say like, well, what was he doing throwing? It was only J1. Why was there? And it's like, he's been throwing for a while. He's ramped up. it was day because people were like, oh, throw one of spring. It's like, dude's been there for 4 days. He's been throwing. This is the thing with pitchers, right? Pitchers always get hurt because they're doing things that the human body should not be doing that aggressively. So
one of the most unnatural motions in the history of man.
Exactly. The odds of injuries are high and they're random. Like injury. This is the thing with Buxton too. Buxton isn't injury prone, like as a character flaw. That's just random. That's just unluckiness. And it's the same thing with this injury with Lopez. People could say, well, he shouldn't be pitching in the WBC, and that's why he had to ramp himself up, or that's why this happened, or pitchers this, pitchers that. Like injuries, they're just random.
Well, and probably is what's the case here is, sure, he started to ramp himself up a little early so he could pitch in the WBC. But with something like this, with a previous Tommy John injury or, the elbow injury and the increased chances anyway, like what it means is like it was probably going to be torn by the All-Star break anyway.
Right, exactly. And there's no guarantee it would have happened. And also, he had a clean bill of health, like in the offseason. He got all the checks, all the scans, and they're like, yep, you're good to go. You're good to like do full offseason work.
You can't take off of work because it's cold season and you might get one next week.
Right.
Like you have to go to work and you have to do your stuff.
Right.
You can't take a sick day until you're sick. This is some people are more injury prone than others.
Yes, of course.
But
they're not seeking it out.
Yeah, that's not Jackass. We're not watching Johnny Knoxville out there.
Exactly.
Because Johnny Knoxville would do a bit that's like, I'm going to throw a baseball till I need Tommy John surgery. Right? I tweaked my elbow. Now I'm just going to throw a baseball till I need Tommy John surgery. That's not what he's doing.
No.
How this works. Unfortunately for the Twins. So I saw a question posted on social media that was nothing good has happened to the Twins since 2023.
Since October 2023 in that playoff win. Yeah.
So but you also remember that was the year they didn't do anything at the trade deadline, correct?
Yep, they did not.
So it might be it's been a rough pushing 3 years here with the Twins.
Yep. Yes, it has.
No, that's fine. That was a perfect end to that question.
Yes, it was. There has not been anything good. Somebody said Buxton's cycle against Pittsburgh in July might have been the only good thing to happen, because at least for Buxton, it's like, okay, cool. He earned that. Like, he deserved that.
Yeah, that was totally awesome.
But yeah, there's nothing that makes you go, great. Like, this is awesome. So especially just anyway, all right, whatever. So that's its own set of things. But yeah, the Twins have had their struggles. And with Lopez, this is the thing.
Their struggles.
They've had their struggles, to put it mildly. And so with the Twins, they were supposed to be anchored by starting pitching, and Pablo Lopez is supposed to be leading the charge. Or that gets lost in the shuffle is before he got hurt, the Twins were picking things up. He had a 2.74 ERA. He was getting strikeouts. He was being the Pablo Lopez we all knew he was. And you could pinpoint the exact moment last season went down the tubes, and it was him getting hurt in Sacramento. And he missed basically the rest of the season. And the team was on an 89 win pace when Pablo Lopez got hurt, and they played at a 58 win pace the rest of the year.
The Sacramento A's is another thing I don't like. All right, can I throw another question that I know has been posed to you from someone else, but I want to hear just like a very quick answer on this. You mentioned it. They're on an 89 win pace. Pablo gets hurt. They're on a 58 win pace after that, which is historically bad. There are teams that we have liked to make fun of over the last couple of years for being historically bad. In particular, the teams I'm thinking of are the Colorado Rockies and the Chicago White Sox. That 58 win pace was worse than the Chicago White Sox that we like to make fun of.
Yep.
So the question that was posed to you by someone else, I'm going to steal from them and ask you for your quick answer. Are, after this Pablo injury, the White Sox maybe in a better spot than the Twins?
No. Short version is no, but the gap is considerably closer than we'll want to admit.
Way closer, right?
That's the short answer. The long answer is no, but the White Sox they actually signed free agents, Corey. They signed major league bullpen free agents. Who would have thought?
Yeah, I know.
Legitimate ones to multi-year contracts. So that's one thing. They've raised the floor, but granted, their floor was pretty low. But the biggest thing about the White Sox is they have a pretty good farm system that they have some guys who are knocking on the door. And if those guys get up and like immediately show life, yeah, the White Sox could surprise some people, not in making the playoffs, but I think they could be like, oh, they're not a dumpster fire this year. Okay.
Team in history.
Exactly. So I think there is some of that. Now, that being said, despite the fact that Pablo has gone down, and despite the fact that the Twins on paper are a worse roster than they were a year ago, I will say the Twins are built to live through the Pablo injury more than an injury to any other position. If Byron Buxton goes down, Corey, who's the Twins center fielder?
Walker Jenkins.
A guy with the last name Outman.
I know.
Exactly. Walker Jenkins eventually. But yes, like your opening day center fielder is James Outman. Pablo Lopez goes down. Your opening day starting pitcher is Joe Ryan. Which, again, you want depth in your starting staff. I'm not saying that like, well, it's okay. We have Joe Ryan. You can have both. Like, that's the beauty of it.
Have depth anywhere. It is in starting pitchers. Now, they might grade out to a C+.
They're going to need to recreate Pablo Lopez in the aggregate, basically.
Which is not possible when it comes to pitching.
No.
That's not a possibility, really.
It's tough because, again, you look at the innings Pablo Lopez eats. Assume he pitches like 180 innings and gets like 195 strikeouts this season.
Right.
Recreating that in the aggregate is going to be tough.
Yeah, you're going to need Simeon Woods Richardson and Zebby Matthews to each strike out 50 more guys this year.
Right.
Than they did a year ago.
Really, the key to this, I think that there's a few different things because I think we know Zebby could take a step up, but I think he's like his ceiling is like a nice mid-rotation starter. Like we know Bailey Ober kind of is who he is at this point. Simeon Woods Richardson, I think, is competent and good, but I think he's a 4-starter on a really good team and he's a 3-starter on an okay team. And like I think he kind of fits as that middle of the rotation guy. I think it's the guys that they traded for, right? They traded for this depth at starting pitching. They have Festa. They have Zebby. They have Andrew Morris, who's a pitching prospect who's going to probably pitch in the major leagues at some point this year. But they also traded for Mick Abel in the Joan Duran trade. And he had some bad starts his early career in Minnesota, but also he got traded at the deadline. You can maybe give him some slack for being like, I got to get acclimated, whatever. He has a full off season now, knowing that he's in the Twins organization. Same thing with Kendry Rojas, who was in the Louis Varland trade. And basically, why did the Twins trade Varland? He had multiple years of service time and was cheap. Well, in their factoring is a reliever, even though Varland, he's not a high-end reliever, but a good reliever is still not as valuable as a potential starting pitcher with multiple years worth of control. And Kendry Rojas has the ability to be a good starting pitcher. So I think it's one of those two stepping up, and probably Mick Abel more than anything. If Mick Abel steps up and becomes the pitcher that he was in the Philadelphia system, not that he's going to be Pablo Lopez. The Twins do not have another Pablo Lopez in their system. Pablo Lopez is better than Joe Ryan. Like, I stand by that, and that's no knock on Joe Ryan. But Pablo Lopez clearly has better stuff. And you're not going to have another one of those guys in your organization. But you can have a guy like Mick Abel take a step up, and all of a sudden that puts the burden on the rest of the staff to have to do less. So I think that they do have some internal options. But again, at the end of the day, none of them are as good as Pablo Lopez.
Well, and I want to point out, this is again, forgive me for being more pessimistic about all of this than maybe some other folks are. But
what? Be pessimistic? What would they ever give you a reason to be pessimistic for?
The last few years, CJ, we've talked about. We always do like a big Twins preview, right? Like, what are some of the questions that you want to see answered for the Twins season, right? And we'll do things like over under home runs for Byron Buxton. Who's going to be the Naz Reid of this Twins team, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we kind of fill all of those things out. But one of the questions that has come up for maybe the last 3 seasons is there's a lot of depth in the infield. Who is going to be the person who steps up? How are the Twins actually going to be able to take advantage of this depth? And what we found out is that the depth was not actually a benefit because everybody was like a C-, right? And now they'd have severely less depth, or I shouldn't say severely, significantly less depth in those infield spots. The one position group they do have a little more depth is in the starting rotation. But I would pose the same question here. Is that depth just C- depth? Because then depth doesn't matter. You can have as many guys as you want. If they're all 4 starters, that doesn't help. That does.
Right, exactly. It's the Twins bullpen, right? Like they added all of these minor league options, these waiver wire claims, and in a vacuum, you go, okay, cool. They have a bunch of depth. They have a bunch of guys. But if they're all supposed to be, if they're all waiver wire guys or minor league free agents, and you're expecting them all to be your primary setup men, well, you're in trouble. Even though you have a million of them, you're in trouble. And that's exactly the same argument you're making, which is, yeah, you can have depth, but if it's not quality depth, it's not better.
Yeah, I've got 100 bills in my pocket, but they're all $1 bills.
Right.
There are some organizations that have 100 bills in their pockets and they're large denomination. The Twins have all $1, and maybe they don't, right? This has to be bared out over the course of a very long season. Is it realistic that Taylor Rogers can be very useful in 6th, 7th, 8th inning sort of positions? And yeah, of course. Can Liam Hendricks be useful and effective in spots and at times? Yes, of course. But the opposite is also equally true. Mm-hmm. It's not, so it's the bullpen. We all agree that might be kind of a mess, but that it applies to then the starting job too. Cool. You've whatever, you named all the guys. Are any of them going to exceed above expectations? Because so far, none of them have shown our expectations aren't very high.
Right. Exactly.
I don't know, man. It's going to suck.
Hey, on the good news, let's finish with some good news. Mike Conley is back.
Hey, we love Mike.
Do you think Conley ever left his house? Because he got traded to Chicago, and then he got traded to what was it, like Atlanta, I think, or something?
It doesn't matter.
Somewhere on the east.
Washington, I don't know.
Something like that. He got traded again. And then because he got traded twice and bought out, that meant that he could come back to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So essentially, the Timberwolves are now getting Mike Conley back on the vet minimum instead of his deal. The Bulls are taking on his salary, and whatever. Now you still get that roster spot back with a vet. Like Conley being in the room with everyone at the very least is very beneficial.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Yeah, exactly. I think here's the biggest thing though: is will that mean that Mike Conley just comes back status quo? Or do you think it means that Mike Conley comes back in like a Joe Ingles role?
No, well,
or somewhere in between.
He'll play more than Ingles.
Yes,
he'll play more than Ingles. But here's the thing: now it makes sense. Like this is one of those people like to talk about. This not just a game at this level, right? It's a job. So now his job responsibilities can match the amount of money he's making. It's just all going to make more sense now politically or job responsibilities, however you want to frame this. They can be like, sorry, Mike, you get 8 minutes a game.
Right.
Or whatever the number is. And because this is what we're paying you. And so there's just some of those sorts of things like the job part of this now makes more sense. And then everybody's expectation of him from a fan standpoint is like, yeah, I mean, like before it was like, you just can't have Conley out there. Right. You can't be playing significant minutes at all. You're paying him too much. You can't do it anymore. But now, like, you're not paying him any money and he just gets to
he still gets to hang out,
be an assistant coach, but play. It's not like he can't still shoot and knock down corner threes and make good decisions when that time is needed. And we all kind of know that Finch likes guys that he can trust. And this is a guy that he can trust and the organization trusts. To answer your question, did he ever leave? No, of course not. I got a buddy who coaches elementary basketball in the metro area.
Yeah.
His team played Mike Conley's kid in one of their tournaments.
Oh, really?
Like pretty recent. It was before the trade deadline, but like, yeah, no, his kid is like in school.
Right.
And if he was going to move, it would have probably been after the season or something. So
right.
yeah.
No, I just mean like him personally. Do you think like he got on a plane to even join the team?
This seems like it was pretty understood from the beginning, doesn't it?
It kind of feels like it, right? Like, hey, we're going to ship you off your, like, I think he knew if he was getting traded, he was getting bought out. So he wasn't going to have to report anyways. But yeah, the fact where it was like, do I think that the Timberwolves knew that they were going to 4D chess themselves to get him back? Yeah. I don't know if that necessarily happened because there's a lot of moving parts. But right. I think once the opportunity, Chicago was always going to buy him out, and they found another team that would trade for him to buy him out. I'm not sure why that was included, but it happened. And so Mike Conley's back on this team, and nobody's happier than Chris Finch. So
I mean, and us, like, this is where he belongs.
It would have felt bad for Mike Conley to, like, if the Wolves, I don't know if they're going to win it all this year, but if they go on another Western Conference Finals run, to rob Mike Conley of that opportunity just to be on the team felt.
Zach Lowe says it's a 4-team race in the Western Conference.
Zach Lowe is very high on the Timberwolves.
The Timberwolves are one of his 4 Western Conference teams.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. Got to win the Western Conference before you get moved to the East.
Tell you what, if you come out of the West, you should feel good about yourself.
You should feel very good about yourself. So, all right, Morning Sports Desk, powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. See ya.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.